Did you hear that? Was it an earthquake? No, it's the sound of Arsenal's cannons firing. They are unleashing a relentless barrage not just on the pitch but also at the negotiation table. Arsenal are a powerhouse right now. Their 3-0 demolition of Real Madrid in the Champions League was the opening salvo, a humbling defeat that even a giant like Los Blancos rarely suffers in European competition. And now, they're loading up to fire again, this time to snatch Dean Huijsen right from under Madrid's nose. You can bet Florentino Perez is sweating. Real Madrid are not only at risk of crashing out of the Champions League, but they could also lose out on a player many have dubbed the next Sergio Ramos, someone they desperately want to bring to the Bernabeu. From a strategic standpoint, Arsenal must win this transfer battle. Dean Huijsen isn't just another signing, not when your rival is Real Madrid. When Los Blancos set their sights on a player, very few clubs dare to challenge. Remember when Manchester United had to break the bank to beat Madrid to Lenny Yoro? Now it's Arsenal's turn to enter the ring for a similar fight. For Arsenal, this isn't just about shoring up the defense. They need to make statement wins in the transfer market to let the world know we are a force, we have stature, we're not stepping aside for anyone. That 3-0 win over Real at the Emirates didn't just send shockwaves through the fan base, it was a bold declaration. Arsenal are ready to go toe-to-toe with the kings of Europe, and they're not stopping there. Right after that match, the Gunners pivoted to the transfer battlefield, a space long dominated by Real Madrid. The Real model of entertainment was Real from the outset, the good man that we all know. Just days later, Dean Huijsen, a name Ray had been tracking for quite some time, suddenly appeared on Arsenal's radar, and at the same time, reports emerged that Arsenal were eyeing Arda Güler, the Turkish starlet who only just joined Ray not long ago. No one can say for sure whether Arsenal will land either player, but the timing of their move hitting Real while they're still reeling from that Champions League blow says a lot. The Gunners aren't waiting around for opportunities anymore. They're going all in, head-to-head, with any giant, even Real Madrid. This could very well be a calculated response from Arsenal to reports that Real have been monitoring William Saliba, their defensive linchpin, as part of a future backline revamp. But instead of playing defense, Arsenal are striking back, decisively, with purpose, by disrupting Madrid's own transfer plans. In less than a week, two of Real's long-term targets, Arda Güler and Dean Huijsen, have both been linked with a move to North London. Güler is a gem Real and Barca once battled fiercely over. Though injuries have limited his chances to shine, Güler is still seen as a long-term project at the Bernabeu. Arsenal showing interest now is essentially them saying, we'll go after anyone, even if they are already at a European giant. Huijsen, meanwhile, is a different story. Real have tracked the center-back since his Malaga academy days, viewing him as a natural successor to Rudiger or Alaba. They even hosted Huijsen and his father at the club's headquarters. But while Real were still weighing their options, Arsenal made their move, meeting directly with his representatives. The common thread in both pursuits? Arsenal are stepping in before Real can make a decisive move. And they're not just showing up, they're actively targeting the very players Madrid wants. That's no coincidence. Arsenal are proving they're no longer reactive in the transfer market. They move first, striking where it hurts, the kind of strategy only big clubs employ. Arsenal's simultaneous involvement in two sensitive transfer sagas involving Real Madrid is no accident. It's the result of a long-term overhaul in their recruitment strategy, shaped by technical director Edu Gaspar and manager Mikel Arteta. Arsenal no longer wait around to see what others do. They've adopted a proactive model, identifying targets early, analyzing fit within their tactical system, and striking at the right moment. Deals like Martin Odegaard, Ben White, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Jurrien Timber highlight that philosophy, prioritizing young, versatile talents with high potential and long-term value. Arsenal aren't just plugging gaps, they're building a sustainable core for the future. As of March 2025, Andre Berta has officially taken over as Arsenal's new sporting director, with the expectation that he will carry forward and elevate the strategic vision crafted by Edu and Arteta from 2020 to 2024. During that period, Arsenal underwent a significant transformation, both in squad-building philosophy and in how they approached the transfer market. The focus shifted toward young talents who align with the club's footballing identity and long-term sustainability. With previous experience at Atletico Madrid and deep ties within the AJ network, Berta is expected to help Arsenal expand their footprint on the international stage, especially in high-stakes transfer battles. It's very likely he's the one currently orchestrating Arsenal's moves for Arda Güler and Dean Huijsen, two players also high on Real Madrid. Over at Real, what's happening may not amount to a full-blown crisis, but it's certainly a tricky spot. That 3-0 loss to Arsenal wasn't a knockout blow, they've come back from worse in the Champions League, but it did shake the image of composure and control that Real usually exudes in the knockout rounds of Europe. And now, the two prospects they're counting on for the future are suddenly being targeted by the very team that just dismantled them. This is unfamiliar territory for Real, playing from the back foot. When it comes to Güler, Real aren't ready to let him go, but they've also failed to create the right environment for him to grow. As for Huijsen, despite long-standing interest, they've yet to make an official move. That hesitation has opened the door and Arsenal have stepped right through. When a club as massive as Real lets a top target slip to a side not traditionally seen as a transfer market powerhouse, that's a clear sign that the balance of power is shifting. And this isn't the first time. Just last summer, Real lost out on their top center-back target Lenny Yoro to Manchester United, mainly due to sluggish negotiations. They believed they had the upper hand, but reality told a different story. If they dragged their feet again with Huijsen, they're at real risk of repeating that same mistake, especially with other European heavyweights now circling. Of course, Real still holds plenty of leverage, reputation, prestige, and a winning legacy, but this time they're having to respond to an aggressive and proactive threat, and that's never a comfortable position for the Royal Club. Dean Huijsen, for now, has committed to no one. In recent interviews, the young defender has remained coy when asked about his future. His release clause is confirmed, and the interest from top clubs is very real, but ultimately the decision will come down to which club presents the clearest and most serious plan. At Real, the backline is clearly in a transitional phase. Antonio Rudiger is now 32 and no longer a long-term solution. David Alaba is coming off a major injury, and it's uncertain whether he'll return to form. Eder Militao is only just back from an ACL tear. Meanwhile, Ruben Asensio is beginning to emerge, but Real need a reliable long-term partner next to him, and Huijsen would fit that bill perfectly. Still, Arsenal's intentions are just as clear. Gabriel Magalhaes remains a trusted partner for William Saliba, but the Gunners don't want to rely solely on that pairing. Arsenal are preparing for the future, not just on the pitch, but also in the transfer trenches. They know full well that to compete across an entire season, they need another elite center-back. While War is seen as promising, whether he can be fully trusted in the biggest games remains a question mark. Current alternatives like Tomiyasu and Timber are primarily versatile fullbacks who can fill in at center-back situationally, but they're not long-term solutions for the heart of defense. And with Gabriel now dealing with a serious injury and no guarantee of returning at full strength by the start of next season, finding a high-quality defender like Dean Huijsen has become a top priority. If Arsenal can land him, Huijsen wouldn't just be another squad option. He has the quality to challenge Gabriel for a starting role and the potential to become Saliba's long-term partner. At just 19, Huijsen has already played nearly a full Premier League season and recently earned a call-up to Spain's national team. Adapting to English football won't be an issue. With his modern style, ideal height, technical ability on the ball, and excellent reading of the game, Huijsen is exactly the type of center-back Mikel Arteta can build a rock-solid defense around for the next 5 to 7 years.